Charge! Didn't expect that. Greetings and welcome to episode 70 of my Empire Total War Darth mod Great Britain campaign. And this, my friends, how we left it last time, where we were, of course, the great sort of the drama at the end of last episode was that the Russia declared war upon us, adding another enemy to the already growing list, and there's a very, very strong chance that Poland will soon follow suit. Now, we've also had some wonderful advice from the Council, some exemplary advice, it really has. That advice has ranged particularly around what we do here with Moscow and St. Petersburg, and indeed we've got the Crimea as well, which we also control, but again blockaded by the French. Now, many of the council are saying that if we need to focus first, before we do anything else as well, on capturing Dresden and Hanover, sort of clinching the last sort of bastions, as it were, of French power in Europe, potentially hastening the collapse of the French Empire, because as you can see here, they are actually building, sort of constructing the Arc de Triomphe here in Dresden. Now that can only assume they've shifted their capital to Dresden. If we take Dresden, the council is pretty much, sort of saying that if we take Dresden and Hanover, and then we might see the collapse of the French altogether. And that removes a real thorn in our side here, because as you can see, they have a vast territory. I mean, all of Canada, majority of Canada, and all of continental US is firmly under their control. It really is an absolute behemoth here. But we've also got here the Spanish as well, who we're at war with, and the council has really come in with some wonderful advice, including that we should actually launch an assault against the Spanish in the Caribbean here, taking their holdings here. We've also got an ally here, Jamaica. Sweden has got Jamaica here, so we could actually land troops in Jamaica. We do have here that French force here, which is pretty formidable. A lot of the French do have a formidable fleets here, but if we could really collapse the French Empire and sort of bring all this territory either into rebel hands, or we might even see the United States spring forth from this, the birth of the United States. Now that would actually suit us perfectly, because we can of course aid the United States, and maybe perhaps in the long run we may even gain an ally there, a powerful ally in the United States here, who would eventually control all of continental US as it is today. And that would be a real boon for us, because we could then shift our focus to matters closer to home, as it were. But look at the Polish Empire; it is vast, and I'm absolutely going to hold my hands up here. I fear the Polish Empire far more than I do the Russian Empire. The Russian Empire is sort of so vast and disparate, as it were, that it doesn't really have a coherent whole. They've got all of these forces here. I mean, but let's not be under any illusions here. If they decide to unleash these against us, we would probably fall. So I think it's important, and the council has pretty much said that we need to really bring the Russians back on side. Now that will either include giving Moscow back to them. As you can see, look at that, that's bringing 14,000 the income. That is just huge. That's going to be a real dent. However, we have, last episode, captured Cairo, which again is going to offset that by 6,000. And we are on the brink, potentially, of taking Hanover, which is actually a very rich, 6,900 there. We've almost made back up what we're going to lose there in Moscow. So again, we've brought that equilibrium here. We also have a very powerful army moving here towards Dresden. Now, can we take Dresden before the Poles move against us? If we take Hanover, there's a strong chance that we actually might see the Poles move against us, and that's going to put us in a very precarious position, because we've also got here in the south here, moving up from Marseille, we do have a very strong Spanish force moving up here. Look at that. But again, there's a lot of cavalry here. Not really much firepower in terms of fire support, but as you can see, they've also got then this another sort of similar, should we say, a half an army here moving up to support them here. They're currently residing in Lyon, and so we have we've definitely got the firepower to deal with. We do have a French army here as well in the port which we need to deal with. So we are actually not in a bad way here, because thankfully we do have the forces available here, definitely in Brussels. This army will be pulled from Flanders, from Brussels, and moved forth to sort of counteract anything that might come our way. We have these forces here still repairing and replenishing, but look at the battle here for Cologne. It was a brute, sir. Down to 12 men, down to 19 men here, down to 4 guns, I mean 2 guns. It really did cripple us pretty badly. But mind you, this army is coming back to full strength quite quickly here. So I imagine we just got 2 more regiments we need here. But look at that, we can actually get Swiss Guards here in Cologne. And Swiss Grenadiers. So we can actually start filling our ranks back up. We do have a very strong force here within Amsterdam. Again, these forces are looking a little bit worse for wear, particularly the Cuirassiers here, 23rd Horse Guards. But the rest are starting to come back to full strength here as the reinforcements start to pour in. We also have here as well, this army did take a beating here. Of course, we don't have a general in here, which we will have to rectify. But again, as you can see, we really were up against it. Amsterdam has fallen, but look at that force, almost at full strength, which is an absolute wonder to see here. Swiss Guards, plenty of cannon here, 188 men in that cannon battalion, 90 men in here. But as you can see, this force really started to come together now. And again, this force here as well, we still need some reinforcements in here. We are stretching the limits of our capacity here. We're going to be, if we do take Dresden, then we're going to be absolutely sort of the fingers of the British Empire are poking into the Polish Empire as well, and that could spell some trouble for us. We do, of course, have Cairo, which we did take. There's only a small French force here still in full strength here. I don't know where they got that from, but for some reason that's managed to move into the area here, but we're going to just leave it alone for the moment. We need to replenish and repair in Cairo to bring that up to full strength. As you can see, we can probably get more than that once we've replenished and repaired here as well. We've got this army here, and I believe that's moving to Tripoli, so the Tripoli garrison is pretty much decimated here. And the council have recommended we either hold Tripoli or we give Tripoli to a neutral country. We give it to either Poland to sort of appease them, or we give it potentially to Spain, maybe to try and get some peace, but maybe to Russia to try and get peace from them. But the big question is what we do with Russia. We can hold Russia because we can give Russia back Moscow and then sort of simply retreat back to Ingria. There has been a call we actually give Sweden Moscow. Now that could be something we do. We could actually give Sweden Moscow, and they can then deal with that. That would take, as the council has recommended, that would take sort of the gaze of Russia away from us, and then we could possibly give Ingria back to the Russians to get peace and a trade deal. So in other words, we would be giving one of our strongest allies. We are pretty strong. Our alliance is pretty strong with them, I believe. Only plus 69, but still. it's still we're still friendly, we're still allied with them. So if we were to give them that, then it would increase Sweden's ability to sort of keep Russia at bay from us. And also remember, we are allies with Sweden, so we would be getting the benefits of that. But alas, we are, of course, there's been huge raiding going on here. And look at that, we've got no money coming in here at all because the trade lines are being raided. And also this here is that, yeah, of course Sweden is hitting this this trade line here is being hit, so there's no money coming from here, but nor here. Have they haven't repaired this, that's why. If they repaired this, the money coming in would be huge. Now if we were to give Sweden Moscow and then look to give St. Petersburg to the Russians for peace, that has been a suggestion by the council as well. There's also been several suggestions that we give North Africa in its entirety to Poland to sort of gain their trust back, so they don't actually attack us. There's also been a call from the council we actually hold on to North Africa, which at the moment I'm inclined to do. Again, we're being hit here as well. We really need to deal with France because they really are becoming a menace. And they've also blockading Crimea here. So what would happen is if we were to give Moscow to Sweden, the chances are all of these forces are going to pour out and attack here. So I can understand where the council might be saying, man, don't give it to Sweden, give it straight to the Russians. But effectively what we're doing, we're giving to the Russians anyway, because they'll simply steamroll past the Swedes if we give them Moscow. So Moscow is going to effectively be Russian anyway. By hook or by crook, it's going to be Russian anyway. But what it does, it gives us time. It gives us time and also pulls this army out. Otherwise, what we've got to do is evacuate through. We've got to evacuate through Moscow, or it will just be sent here to St. Petersburg, and then we'd have to evacuate through the Baltic Sea. And if we get ambushed along there, if we get ambushed along that way, it's going to cause a lot of trouble for us. We can't lose these forces. I mean, look at the army here. Look at this army. If this army was in Europe and Poland attacked, this army combined with another elite army would effectively stop any blitzkrieg from the Poles. And I don't say that lightly. I mean, if you put at least an army group of elite British forces together, it's going to stop most attacks. Now we've only got a very skeleton sort of crew, as it were, here. A skeleton garrison here in Ingrid, and we're not getting any. I'm not getting money. 3,211 here, as you can see. The town wealth is very, very wealthy here. The regional wealth, but these are far-flung territories. These are territories we can no longer really afford to hold. We need to do something about this. We can't hold these forces in here, especially when you're at war with a nation that has all of these armies at their disposal that can simply down this road and then they'll hit you absolutely for six. We need to do something about Moscow here. Now we can give Moscow back to the Russians, and then this force would go to St. Petersburg. And we'd also got Crimea here. We could even give the Sweden Crimea as well, just to give them that thorn in the side, as it were. The Russians that thorn in the side. Now the Russians would obviously have the firepower to take that back from the Swedes, but again, it's everything. We're looking at how is it going to benefit us if we give Sweden these territories, and the council has come up with that as well. The council is saying, give these territories to certain parties here to keep them at arm's length until you're ready to be able to tackle them. So we could even give Poland to the Crimea. I mean, there's nothing stopping us giving because I mean, look at the army here in the Crimea. I mean, look at that. This army freed up, combined with the armies in Cairo here. I mean, that's a powerful strike force here, a powerful army group. And I know many of the council are saying you should actually use these forces here and strike against Jerusalem and Damascus. And we could do that, but could we realistically hold Cairo, Jerusalem and Damascus in the current condition we're in? We could also then give these to Sweden, and that's plausible. But what you've got to remember, my friends, is if we simply do not have the resources to tackle Russia, France and Spain all at the same time. Something has to give. We have to give something away. We have to be able to give something away. So what we're going to do is, I think what we'll do is we'll give we'll give Moscow to Sweden, and we'll give St. Petersburg away to the Russians as a peace bid. I wonder if they'll take that. Now, if we give Moscow to Sweden, I wonder if the Russians would take it. That means this army here would go to Moscow. Then, if we were to give Moscow to the Swedes, that would then move this army down to the Crimea. It would still be blockaded, but we could. How would we get our ships down here? That's the problem. Then if we gave Crimea to Poland, we would end up in Patras, and then we'd have the forces in Patras to actually attack into Spain. And I know that some of the council members were actually very, very keen on us doing that. Because if we strike into this flank of the Spanish Empire, hitting them in the sort of the soft underbelly here of Italy, and then we start to roll them up here and take Naples, we take Rome. I mean, what a boon that would be for us. We take Rome and Naples, and then we're able to sort of move up through here and take Milan and Genoa and Turin. It would effectively cut off any potential we'd have here. We'd then control all of Italy and all of Central Europe, or at least Western Europe, and parts of Central Europe as well. If we can do that, we'd also still control North Africa as well. We would have a powerful. I mean, if Patras fell, it wouldn't be the end of the world. Patras is effectively a staging area for us. If we lose it to Poland before we're ready, because I mean, look at the Polish forces here. I mean, it's just ridiculous. That is just, it's just ridiculous, the firepower they got here. Although they're not at full strength here, they haven't quite got their forces up to where they should be, which is intriguing considering the size. So we might do that. We might give St. Petersburg to Russia for peace, then give Moscow to Sweden, and then these armies would go to Crimea. I'm assuming they go to the Crimea. Now that's an assumption on my part. That might not actually happen. Then we could give the Crimea to Poland, and then I'm assuming that those armies would then be moved to Patras. And from Patras, and we've even got the boats here ready. We've got the troop ships here ready to move and attack here. Let's just have let's have a recon here, a reconnoiter as it were. So we've got that fleet there. Oh good grief, that's a big Spanish fleet. But let's just have a quick reconnoiter here. Okay, they've got that there, but nothing in Naples. Naples could be taken. A strong force there in Rome. That's a pretty powerful force. And they're starting to also build a second. And they've got some very powerful troops here. Royal Cuirassier Guards. That's nothing to be sniffed at all. It really isn't. But Naples could fall. That could be the operational base here within Italy. We'd also cut off quite a great swathe here. Siracusa would fall. All of their vineyards would fall in the south here in the Mediterranean, which are renowned for their wine production. We could also then remove these seminaries here to reduce that impact there. We could even, that might just serve us well here. Let's see if that'll work. Let's just see if that'll work. First thing we'll do is we'll look for peace. We'll give St. Petersburg. Now, St. Petersburg I know had the potential to be quite a potent force here in terms of its trade, but it just didn't work for us. But it would give. Let's see if that'll work. Let's give Ingria to the Russians for a peace treaty. Because whatever happens, we simply cannot hold these far-flung territories. They're no good to us anymore in terms of, although they've got a lot of money coming in from them, that money does not really compensate for the trouble that would cause us further down the empire. So if the Russians attack the rest of Europe with their forces, we are in deep trouble. Because they can merely move through more for Poland if they need be. So we're going to give Ingria we're going to request peace. We're going to request a trade alliance, a trade peace treaty as well, and a trade agreement for Ingria. Let's see if that'll work. Now I know we're going to lose a fair chunk of money here, and they're rich, but we're spectacularly wealthy. But if we get a trade agreement with them, that will definitely compensate for what we're owed to lose. So let's do that. Unless we give... No, because we have to do this in stages here. Let's see if this will work. Possibly, yes indeed, sir. Now they're still hostile with us. That's absolutely fine. No, there they are there. So we're... Right, I've got it. So if you move these gentlemen... So they're in Moscow's territory here. Now if we give... Now there's every chance if we give this to Sweden, we can still stay in here. Which means we'd have to make our way to the Crimea. We have to make our way to the Crimea, and then we'd have to give the Crimea to Poland. And I'm assuming then we'd end up in Betrast. That's what we've got to... That's pretty much what we've got to factor into this here. Now I know this is going to sound brutal, but if these forces were to be lost on the journey down to the Crimea, it wouldn't hurt as much as if we lost this army. I mean, look at this army here, and General Elizabeth Ernok. So we'd have to really go all guns blazing, but how would we get... If we give that to Sweden, we're not going to be able to get through here. We'd have to go through Swedish territory, because we're in alliance with Sweden, so we wouldn't be able to get through to Crimea. I wonder if we can get an alliance with... I wonder if we get an alliance with Russia. I wonder if we give them for a... Oh, we can't alliance, of course, because we are allies with Sweden. Or do we give them back Moscow? Oh, unless we get Moscow for payment. Because there's absolutely no way we can hold Moscow even now. Because they're bound to come at us at some point. But ideally I want Moscow to be... So we've got 47,000. We lost 1,000, but luckily we've got a trade agreement with them that's going to bring in money to us. Again, we can't there because, of course, this port's been hit here, so we're not got anything coming in through here either with Russia. But if we give Moscow away, our income here is going to plunge. We might have to evacuate. We can stay in here with Sweden if we give this to Sweden, but if we give this to the Russians, then they would evacuate us to the Crimea. But I wonder if it might be better if we give this to the Russians, to be honest with you. And I think just because they're still hostile with us, I know I'm sort of debating on this quite a lot, my friends, but this has to be done right, because otherwise we're going to find ourselves up against Russia, and they're going to be very powerful. But then again, if we give Sweden it, it'll bring Sweden much stronger. It'll make Sweden much stronger than they actually are. And then that means we'd have to evacuate through Karelia here, get a ship up to here. And that means getting a ship and all the way back down to here as well, before any war was declared. Of course, we could always land in Stockholm, move all the way to here. That's going to be a long process to do. We got this ship here. What we do is we put these two. I've got HMS Britannia here. Look at that. That's an absolute wonder, sir. Orders. We've also got victory here. If we give that to Sweden, I think then it might even put Russia. Russia might even attack us again. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to let Sweden. It's a real conundrum we're in here. I want to help Sweden out, but we might have just made their lives much more difficult. Mind you, they do have a good... Oh, look at that. They've got a lot of forces here. They might be able to deal with the Russians themselves. But if we were to give them Moscow, imagine the boost that would be for them. But it might tip the Russians back into war with us. So I think what we might do is we would just try and give Moscow for money. I know it's only a small amount. Let's see, 5,000 here. We'll try 10,000. 10,000 for Moscow. I know that doesn't seem very much, but if we can get that out of them, I mean that we can put that. No, they're still hostile towards us. If we give it to Sweden, there's every chance they're going to just definitely declare war on us. But then again, it looks like they're going to anyway, because look at the hostility, minus 200. So we give that. If we give that to the Swedes, I think we might give that to Sweden anyway. Let's help them out, because I think we need to help. We need to help Sweden out here. I wonder if they just have any technologies here. I think we might help. I think we can help Sweden out here, because we need Sweden to be strong here. So we can help Sweden out here. Going to give them all of this. We want Sweden to still be strong and affluent. And we're going to give them Moscow. I know this is going to be... The council may be balking at this. They may think, Mala, what are you doing, sir? What are you doing? But they're the only ally we've got, and they're the only ones that are going to keep Russia away from us. If we can help them out, if we can make them strong, it's going to keep Russia off our back, so we can then hopefully move our forces away from here. We might even evacuate Crimea and give that to Poland. Let's do it. That's a big risk we've just taken on. And I can understand if the council are, you know, not pleased with us there. I can completely understand that. We're going to evacuate now. Going to evacuate through Karelia here. We're going to get a ship up to here as well, or ships, should I say. We've got to get this army at the very least out of here. Because we can always land in Stockholm and then move across and have a fleet move it down. We can have a fleet move from, or a ship move from here, bring it into the here to sort of gather the strength here. Now we might give the Crimea. I know that we wanted to get Patras here filled up. We might even be able to move this army here and also an army here, and move against, still move against the Spanish here. We haven't given up on that just yet. We're going to give this to Poland here. See, down to 35,000, but that's absolutely fine. I'd rather suffer that loss there. Now, Crimea is not doing anything to us at all. It's not giving us anything. All it's doing is holding this army up. So we're going to give this to Poland, just to sweeten the deal a bit, because they're hostile towards us and they really don't like us at all. Open negotiations. Do you have any technology we can have? And we shall offer them. We're going to abandon Crimea, for goodness sake. Man, get a grip of yourself, sir. We'll try and get anything we can out of them here. And we shall give them the Crimea. Get your geography right, please. Thank you. They don't like that at all, do they? They're not interested in that. Then we're going to, I'll just outright give them that region, just for this, just to sweeten them up a bit. I have no idea. Oh, of course. Wait a minute. Where has he retreated to? Now I'm completely bamboozled. Wh Ah, there.
Ready for orders.
Whew. Right.
Forwards! March!
Now, if we can evacuate one of these here, if we can get this army up here to full strength, we can then use this army here to strike at the underbelly here of Spain, i.e. Naples. We might even take Rome out as well. I think that's what we're going to do. Now we've effectively abandoned Russia. We've given that to. They're going to have a lot of problems holding that there. The public order is going to be incredibly bad for them. But however, that's not our problem. Now we've given them that. They're going to have to sort themselves out here.
Bristol fashion, Captain. Yes, my lord. Sorry, sir.
We're going to evacuate into friendly territory here, and indeed here as well.
Don't do that.
All we can do now is hope, and everything just remains calm here. Now they're still hostile with us, -87 now. Poland might still declare war upon us, but still, at least we've evacuated forces from here. If Poland does declare war upon us, they might strike against Patras immediately. Would we be able to actually evacuate these gentlemen? We'll have to see what happens. What we don't want is to declare war and then move against this force here
Make ready.
and find we can't. This force is bogged down with fighting for years or for months on end. But that's a chance we take. We're down to 29,000 here, which is absolutely fine. We knew we'd take a pretty big hit here. We knew that would be the way it is. We just bring the tax levels down a little bit here, 20,000. Just to increase and encourage growth. Yes, indeed. Now the growth will help us in the long run. Look at that, 16,000 there, my goodness me. Right, let's end the turn, my friends. I do apologise for it taking so long, but we had to make sure we tactically removed ourselves from Russia with the least amount of problems. Now the chances are Russia's going to steamroll and take Moscow anyway, but what we've done is extricated ourselves away from that as quickly as possible. Let's end the turn. There's every chance now that Poland's suddenly going to turn around and hit us.
Enemy sail approaching.
Of course we had these two ships here which we abandoned. One ship, I beg your pardon. I mean, unfortunately they've had to be a
The
sacrifice.
fleet is lost.
Well, they lost 7 ships, my goodness me. Right. Whatever France does now is up to them. We've got to watch out for Poland. We just can hope that Poland can hold. Yeah, they're going to attack there as well. That's absolutely fine. Here they come for Tripoli again. Ah. Oh, they are evacuating. They're evacuating to Spain. Well, I'll be. They're evacuating to Spain. Got to deal with that one. Here they come. Oh no. Are they going to move against Tripoli perchance? What will Spain do? Got to be careful what's going on here. Oh, you are. No. Oh, not a chance. Don't do it. Don't you do it. Well, I'll be damned. Spain are going all in here. They've got an army group in here. My goodness me, they're going for it. They're going to go for Paris. They're encircling Paris. I don't believe. Don't you do it, Poland. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Just give us one more year. Just give us one more year. That's all we need is one more year. These aren't moving out of here for no reason at all. Something is in the wind here with Poland. Something is in the wind here, but it might be, they seem to be moving. And they're reading those trade lines as well. What will Russia do against Sweden? That's a real interesting conundrum. Russia's on the move. Now they're moving all their forces towards Moscow. Oh, this will be. I know I shouldn't say it, but that will be fun to watch. Remember, although Sweden have been a valuable ally to us, we are not going to be bailing them out. They're going to have to get themselves sorted out here. If Moscow's attacked, then it's up to Sweden to sort that out. We are not going to get involved in this war. Goodness me, Russia's got so many forces. Now what will Sweden do? Now we've helped out Sweden massively here. Nothing much by the seams of it. How are the pirates even able to operate in the Caribbean still? So Lille has been taken. That's a force we can deal with. It looks like they're trying to aim here for Paris.
Troops, forward!
Oh, look at this. The Prime Minister is not the finest, but our Chancellor Exchequer is. The Chief Justice is fantastic, so is the Secretary of War, and the Admiralty as well. That's excellent to see. Ah, look at that, we've got it. Fantastic. So we are building up now to. Oh, these are at full strength as well. Oh, that's a wonder. Except for here. So these gentlemen are going to be built up to full strength, regardless of the cost. We've got 17,000, 18,679. That's not exactly a huge plethora here, but we are going to begin it. Oh, look! All these forces are ready. We can't take our eye off Moscow either.
At the ready!
What we are going to do, I think, is start building up another army here. Quite clear that the Spanish are going to be aiming for Moscow, but we're not going to allow ourselves to be crushed under heel. Let's try and bring those gentlemen up to full strength if possible. Got to spend our money wisely here. Now we can bring this up here and keep Cairo. I think we're going to keep Cairo for ourselves. We've brought that under control quite quickly here. 1724. Now why have they suddenly just moved in here? That is unerring. Do they still have that force there?
Ship's orders, Captain. Awaiting further orders. Underway. Any orders?
They've thrown everything they can here, but we could possibly take. We could probably take Naples from the Spanish. In fact, I know we can take Naples from the Spanish. I think to that end we're going to move this. I think what we will do is we're going to switch forces here. Once this army is at full strength, we're going to withdraw this army here. And we're going to leave this army here in defence. That army is pretty much a custom-built defensive force. So we've given Moscow here. We need to evacuate these gentlemen as quickly as possible.
Yes, Your Majesty. Sir, your orders?
And why? Of course we can't.
Ready. Ship's orders received. Any further orders?
Now where would that get us here? I think what we are going to do is land in Amsterdam. This force has to make it out of there. We can't avoid. If we lose that, we'll lose a massive force.
Ready and waiting. Where to, Captain?
Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness.
Officer on deck.
We managed to. Oh, look at that. That's a real powerful force we've got there. Now we're going to move in here. Besiege Dresden.
They are trapped. Siege works underway. Settlement under siege.
We could even take this. We could even take this settlement straight off the bat here
Target under siege.
and bring it under our control. It's fully fortified as well. That's absolutely fine. 4 more turns till surrender. These are at full strength. All of these forces are at full strength, but we do have these armies loitering about here now. We're not going to be put off. We are not going to be put off here at all. Only 6,946 here. We're going to find ourselves in a little bit of trouble here. We can only hope. I think what we might have to do is increase our attacks a little bit. Mind you, we want growth to increase here. We've just got to do that. We've got to increase the taxes there. For that income to come in, I know it's going to hit growth. Actually, it hasn't hit growth at all. Growth is still very, very good here. That's good to see. But we've got to do something about these here. If we could launch that attack into Naples. But would we be able to hold Naples against a prolonged attack by the Spanish? Unless we withdraw this force here immediately. And mind you, this army is not at full strength. We just simply can't. This army's not in the position to move across there just yet. What we might do though is take the Prince George.
Awaiting further orders.
Then he's ready to evacuate this army. When it's full at full strength, it'll join the army in Patras. Unless we take Naples now, but then again they would hit us here, and they've got more forces up here as well. But that's all they've got here. We've got to be aggressive. I think that's what we're going to do.
Set sail. Orders. Jump to it and look lively. Yes. More orders. What? Set sail. Awaiting further orders. Ready for action. Set sail. Jump to it and look lively. Any orders.
Now we are. Well, I wonder if we could just move this force here to mind you, they're not at full strength either. That's the main problem we've got here. Is these armies, if we had this army at full strength, it would be joining them immediately. But we've got to take Naples ourselves, and then we'd have to defend whatever comes our way, which is probably be this army here coming down upon us. However, I think this force is more than able to take that there. We could take Hanover, but it's a defended area. That's going to be quite a... Is it though?
Siege works underway. Get ready for battle.
That is in our favour. We probably lose a lot more men than we actually need to. but we do need to take Hanover, and we need to take Hanover quickly. We need to establish a base of operations here, especially we need to connect with Sweden here. And Sweden could probably even move troops into here to help us. Are they going to do that? I doubt it. I think we'll take this fight. Let's assault Strasbourg. Hanover. Hanover's going to be ours, my friends, this year. My goodness me, we've had to do some juggling about here to get where we are now, just to keep some of our foes at bay. Just to give us that breathing space, especially with, oh look at that, it's absolutely throwing it down here with rain. This weather is abhorrent, sir. Now we're going to bring all guns. Look, I mean, look at the topography here of this battle map is you sort of have this undulation here. It sort of moves. As you can see, there's almost a valley here. It's level, fairly level here. Maybe a slight raise here, but then you move into this sort of this turn up here. Now, this here is absolutely perfect for disguising troop movements, and especially guns. We need to blitz this. We need to blitz this fort quickly to bring Strasbourg under our control as quickly as possible here. So we're going to bring all the guns to bear here, and we're going to just absolutely bombard the fort. We don't want to damage it if possible, we just want to assault it. Let's bring these gentlemen. Actually, we'll set these up in advance. Let's just move them out of the way here, these. Let's put them here. That's more like it, gentlemen. Now that's more like it. Now we've got that field of fire there, that gun battery here. We are going to set some regiments to guard here. They might come out towards us here. We've got to be absolutely prepared here. The 2nd Regiment. Put these gentlemen right in the vanguard of the defence here. And look at that, hidden here, so that's the beauty of having it here. We have the 26th on the right. Will they be afforded the same status? No, they won't. Well, the 40th, will they though on the left here? Possibly. Indeed. So we've got that sort of strong here force. I think we'll keep some of the cavalry back in defence. I'd like to keep the horse guards back because they are such a valuable asset to us, they really are. So we'll keep them. Gentlemen. Shall have General Savorsky, who's been a wonderful council member, a long time council member indeed. We'll put the 12th and the 11th Horse Guard, or Cuirassier, heavy horse, should I say. Horse Guards here. They shall actually be ready to assault if we can open up one of the gates. I think we're going to assault from 2 directions. The left and the right. So the right here we're going to, and also 3 directions. We'll move from this flank here, then from the left and from the right. I think we'll have the guards moving in as a separate entity, as it were. I think we'll have them attacking from the forest, this forested area here. I mean, look at that, look at that. Those guard units are a wonder. And we've got the Grenadiers, 5th Grenadiers, who've been with us a very, very long time indeed. And I think we'll have the foot guards with them, and, oh gentlemen, please, we have these 3 regiments here attacking from the left, at this angle here. And we do have 2 further regiments here attacking from the right, and again the extreme right here. We've just got to be absolutely ready here to punch through as quickly as gentlemen. Thank you. Ready to strike. at a moment's notice here. I think we'll have this horse guard moving in with these gentlemen if the opportunity arises. Is there anybody else? No, there's not. Let's begin. That is a joy. Right, let's bring the fire upon them. And they're firing upon us as well, which is these foot fusiliers here. They don't have anything on this side at all. All their forces are on this side, but if we can do that damage to them. Come on, gentlemen. Don't let this rain put you off, please. Gentlemen, steady now, steady. Come on now, gentlemen. Get those guns firing. How long does it take you to load a musket, sir? Or a cannonball? Or quicklime indeed? That's more like it. These breech loaders. Do look at that. We've lost men here. Those cannonballs have bounced through here. I'm not happy with that at all. I think what we might do is move this artillery up a fraction. They're not even firing. We're going to move them up. We want that. We want this shrapnel shot to be doing its damage. Alternate our fire here. Come on, gentlemen, load those cannons up. We're going to move forward right out to here. We might even assault this part here. To open up the gates here, but we're going to be hit pretty hard. We've just got to do the initial damage here. Come on, gentlemen, for goodness sake. I think what we are going to do is move the guards around to here. Excuse me, my friends. Excuse any noise in the background, my friends. You can probably guess who might be now stirring. Oh, for goodness sake, sir. Look how slowly they're moving here. It's more like it. Ah, that's because they're stuck in there. And now they can't remember at all. Excellent. Just going to rely on these and just these here, by the looks of it. Okay. We thought this would be an easy process, but it's not quite clearly not going to be. That's more like it. That's more like it, gentlemen. Keep redirecting our fire here. Absolutely useless.
Artillery reporting. Hold here.
Not going to serve any purpose to us at all. Not prepared to assault just yet. That's more like it. These mortars would absolutely butcher anything coming in. I think we might have to launch some kind of attack here to bring them to heel. And they're firing upon these. We've got to launch that assault. We've just got to do it right now. If we can capture these gatehouses here, we're going to get our cavalry into position. just taking a real battering there, didn't we? That's why I loathe and detest our mortars, because they can just devastate you as you attack. Absolutely devastate you. The accuracy is unerring, it just seems to hit you. Oh, look at that, we've just been decimated here, no, we've avoided it. We've just got to breach these walls here, we just have to. Here they come. You've got to support them here. God, we've been hit hard here. This is why I loathe and detest mortars. They just absolutely butcher everything in their path. We've just got to capture this gatehouse and we can just break in and deal with these mortars. Yes, it's ours. Get into them, lads. What a wonder. Oh my goodness me. Oh my goodness me. What an error. We have just undone all our hard work. Oh, good grief. Well, we just destroyed our entire cavalry regiment there. Well done. 2 cavalry regiments gone. Idiot. We had those regiments here, we're going to butcher everything in their path. Look at that. Oh dear. What are you doing, you idiot? It's cost us a year to take this forward, my goodness me. It's one. Got to bring in the cavalry here. That's grenadiers in there. Those spikes there, that's where the horse died on, all those spikes. They had those spikes there, that's what he died upon. Wow. engage. Let's engage. That was a costly battle. My goodness me, those mortars were an absolute menace. But mind you, I killed my entire 2 regiments of horse here myself. That friendly fire was abysmal, sir. French will pay, sir. None surviving, sir. They've gone, they've shattered. It's ours at last, sir. What a fight that was. Wow, what a fight. What a fight. That we 913 lost. We 814 killed. We killed 100 of our own men. That is not a good statistics. 150 killed. Line infantry guards did fantastically well there. Heavy cavalry again doing their worth. Hanover's ours. Oh, what a wonder, sir! It's now ours. We've taken Hanover. One last stepping stone here, which is Dresden. Once we've done that, my goodness me, look at that. We expand our empire wonderfully here. We struck against Naples as well. If we can get one of this force here that's in Cairo, replenish and repair, we're going to be moving against. We're going to move directly into Naples with it. Could we reach Naples? We could indeed. Then we'll use this force to hold Cairo. Hopefully this force will replenish in time to hold against any further attacks. It might well do. Hanover's captured. Lille, that's absolutely fine. Let's go into morale. I knew that was happening here, but my goodness me, everything here is happening. And we've also got a massive Spanish invasion here. That's a considerable force here. Oh my goodness me, they've really thrown a lot at us here. Very powerful forces here moving against Spain. They're aiming for Paris. That is absolutely their number one goal here. We need to bring this up to full strength as well. We've also got this force and this force loitering as well. We might even have to move this force from Brussels and attack here and clear this flank. That's gone as well, so they've landed and moved in. Wow. We've also given Sweden now a massive source of income. I mean, huge. Hopefully they'll get their act together and start pushing against Russia. Whilst we've now joined up with our allies here, but my goodness me, it looks like the Spanish are starting to move to encircle Paris. That, my friends, is probably going to be a fight for another time. But meanwhile, we will take our own revenge, shall we say, upon the Spanish. We shall take Naples, and then what we shall do is we'll wait for that army to move, to be prepared. We'll move directly to Naples, and we're going to attack Rome. And we're going to try and roll up all we can here in Italy and try and crush in the Spanish in Italy here. And obviously they're making a huge push for Paris here. That's their main goal. But they are going to be met with some extremely strong resistance here. I'd like to see them crack open that there. That's not going to come in very soon. But my friends, I'm going to end this episode here. Hope you've enjoyed it, my friends. If you have, as always, please leave your comments coming down below. Your comments have been absolutely vital in this episode. It really has in all episodes. As always, please keep your plans coming down. What do we do about the Spanish? Do we wait for them to attack Paris and simply fall back on the defences? do we move out to assault them with these two forces here, and move in against the force they've got here? We might even move this force from Brussels and attack this Spanish force here, and also deal with this, because we've got another army here that can deal with this force. We've also brought this force all the way from Moscow, which is now ready, but I'd like to keep that in reserve in case Poland decides to attack us, and we can then hold our own here, maybe hold the front lines here. We've got still a huge amount to do, my friends, but whatever it is, I'm going to rely on the Council's advice. I'd like to thank all of you for your wonderful advice, your wonderful proposals, and as always, my friends, whatever you're doing, please be safe. But until next time, bye for now.